So if you're afraid to build, if you're afraid to do anything, that's a problem. And the only way to avoid that is to have a clarity on regulation.
So I think that's where we are going to win the most in a short amount of time.
Ripple to 10,000.
No.
I mean, more from a regulatory perspective, like
10,000.
Have you seen these headlines?
No.
Your bro is crazy.
So welcome everybody, welcome to Malta, this beautiful setting we have here, our European headquarters. So it's so great to have you all on this podcast and to hear your insights and all your expertise on cryptocurrency. So I will introduce everyone. So Linas Kmieliauskas, if I got that right. Sorry, apologies for my Lithuanian pronunciation is not quite what it should be. But as founder of the Center, you're an expert in all things cryptocurrency, and in particular, I think, in relation to security issues and things like that. So be interested to hear your introduction to yourself.
Yeah, my name is Linas Kmieliauskas. I was a co-founder of cryptonews.com. I was also editor-in-chief of this news portal. I exited in 2022, and since then I'm mostly engaged in education and consulting. And I'm not sure if there are any experts in all things crypto, because it probably is not possible. But yeah, trying to be.
Okay, fantastic. So next we have Fefe Demeny, who is a Hungarian-born content creator. The brains behind crypto banter, I hear.
Almost. Yeah, no.
I'd love to hear some about it, but maybe you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, appreciate the invitation as well. An incredible place, incredible party yesterday, incredible announcements. But yeah, my name is Fefe Demeny. I am a host on Crypto Banta. We are one of the largest crypto media channels out there. We do daily coverage on everything crypto, and we're building a school. We're almost, I think by the time this goes out, we might even have the school live to onboard 1 million people onto crypto, a school. Nice. So it's, and I'm co-hosting that with our founder, Ranuna.
Fantastic. Sounds very exciting. And finally, can I introduce Sjuul Folings, who is better known as the Alt Crypto Gems. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here. What a location. Absolutely crazy. Sjuul Folings, better known as Alt Crypto Gems. Been in crypto since 2016 and started documenting my crypto trades in 2021. And that's exploded in that year. And ever since, we've been making more and more content. Nowadays, reaching over nearly 1 million followers with all channels combined. And just recently, we have started a YouTube channel where we're doing more vlogs and more behind the scenes. And recently started a crypto podcast called Alt Cryptocast, where we talk about the markets and then altcoins specifically.
Fantastic. And I guess that just leaves myself to introduce. So my name's Janet Irvine. I'm the Global Head of Regulatory for OKX. So, let's
good to meet you.
Thank
I'm
you.
also class 2016. So that's
nice one.
That's
I like it.
That's why I don't have, that's why I'm getting gray.
Could also be crypto.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it. All things regulatory. So, as we all know, the landscape for regulatory developments is rapidly moving. There's been huge developments in Europe, and potentially some upcoming developments in the US. It's really moving forward. Regulation in this space is really moving forward at a rapid pace. What are your thoughts? Is this a good thing for the industry? Will it bring greater clarity? Will it stifle innovation? Maybe I could start with you, Linas.
So probably it could be all those things, because it depends on the specific industry, on the specific technology sector, whether it's DeFi, whether it's NFTs, because each jurisdiction and each technology has its own issues, has its own challenges. And often regulators do not understand how this technology and industry operates to regulate it. As we saw also with Mika, and when Tether just pulled out from the euro because of this, they didn't like, for example, they claimed that this directive is potentially could be more risky for the industry than put more clarity to this. And they decided to leave European for now.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, as a regulatory lawyer, I'm all in favor of clarity and knowing exactly where the law stands. But Sjuul, what are your thoughts?
I think we need it right now to make sure the global crypto adoption is going to go the way that we all want it to go. You see it now with institutions, the ETFs, etc. I think we all need the compliance to make sure that these things keep on going and keep on progressing. I do sort of, the downside here is that in the beginning, it was very unclear on what was needed and what the rules were. And you notice quite a few exchanges or companies who wanted to be compliant, but they said, we simply don't know what we need to do. And I think that's a bad thing, because the exchanges and all the projects and all the companies, they do want to be compliant, but then we do need to have some boundaries or some set rules where they say, you know what, you need to fix this, you need to do this, and then it's okay. But if it's, you know what, today you need to do this, and then tomorrow you need to do that, and then the week after it's changed again, I think that makes it very hard. So I hope we get a bit more clarity on that. And then I think it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I think regulatory clarity is exactly what we need to build trust. What are your thoughts, Fifi?
Yes, I think, with a lot of new innovations, the way it goes, they ignore us, then they try to destroy us, and then they basically become one of us, which we actually see happening now with crypto. For me, I look at it in a way that there is a group, a guy, whatever you believe Satoshi might be, who starts up a program on his computer, and it starts running, and it becomes a decentralized network of 10, 15,000 nodes, and that single thing ignites a revolution of a technology that is basically going to be a part of everyday life for the next, whoever know how long. I think clarity is very, very important, but I also think that because there were these phases, even a couple of years ago, like let's not forget even Gary Gensler, it's a couple of years ago even, where people were, like banks were banning customers for simply making a crypto transaction to a crypto exchange. So from that perspective, we came very, very far. But I also think that because it was way too long pushed out, that they either ignored us or they wanted to destroy the space. I think now this rushed regulatory framework that they try to put forward wherever it is, I just hope that it's not going to backfire and be like, Micah has massive, massive flaws as well, if you look at it. And I hope it's just not going to turn into something where we're going to try to regulate this so much that it actually will just choke innovation. But if there can be balance, which I really hope there can be, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all about communicating with the regulator and with our customers and ensuring transparency and educating.
I think it's good what you said, that it's important that it doesn't go too far and that we're choking it.
Yes.
Because the rules are very nice and we need the rules, but if they go too far, then it might become dangerous or harmful.
100%. And also it's like you have to see but either way, like I definitely think we need regulation. It's not even a question. I think like we do need regulation. But I also think like when you get to a point where exactly what you said, that exchanges can decide if even now that there is a regulatory framework, can we actually do this or can we actually not do this? What is it that we can do and what is it that we can do? And then being punished or having the fear, and this is the choke, what I'm talking about, having the fear of projects launching. Now with the United States, Coinbase announced that they're going to hire 1,000 people this year because now they see that regulatory framework is going to come in, right? Yeah. So if you're afraid to build, if you're afraid to do anything, that's a problem. And the only way to avoid that is to have a clarity on regulation. And it's going to be good. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's the advantage of where we have a European-wide regulation. We have, unity across all the member states, and there isn't fragmentation between different states. So it does bring that clarity that we need. And that moves me to my next question. You mentioned the US. How do we feel about the way the market is moving in the US under the new administration? And it looks like it's going to be a much more crypto friendly country in the coming years, and potentially with substantial regulation coming in. What are your thoughts on how that will bode for the US market and globally?
Yeah, so the US definitely sets the tone for the global crypto regulation. So we'll see how it plays out, but probably one of the downsides of the current administration is that current administration globally is seen as not so serious anymore because of some geopolitical things. So probably it might be a downside when it comes to push more crypto-friendly regulation in other jurisdictions. But otherwise, probably it will improve, will make other jurisdictions, countries more crypto-friendly going forward. And especially probably the most important issues we need to talk about in regulations related to really decentralized technologies and privacy issues, which needs to be solved because it is core principles of this industry.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like your thought that credibility is key. And does the US have credibility at this point in time? Sure, what are your thoughts?
I think that you saw in the past, or in the past years, that crypto companies started to move out of the US again because of all the changes and the rules that they were applying. And now with the new administration, they're saying, you know what, we want to make the US I wouldn't say crypto hub, but let's say
The crypto capital of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying now. So now all of a sudden you see companies going back to the US. So I think it's just a natural way of how things would go, because first they would have a lot of issue doing it in the US, and now the new administration says, let's do it. Market-wise, I think nearly everyone thought, crypto was going to go to the moon when the new administration would come in. And it turned out we had a good pump, and then we also had a good dump again. So I think it's very interesting to see what's happening there, because it seems as if crypto has gone more volatile now than what it has been for the past X amount of years. So that's interesting to see. So I'm curious what that's going to do in the coming months to this year. That's sort of the things that I'm looking at right now.
Interesting. And Fefe, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's going to settle down as the year progresses and we see some more clarity on where regulation is headed in the US, or do you think it's volatility is in store for us?
It's interesting just to reflect on also what you said. It's very important to see that we, although we think the world is going around us, like crypto people, but it's not. So we're like a $2.5 trillion industry, which is like a tiny drop in the ocean. And I see all these. We do the daily live shows as well, and I'm just bringing up some posts, people saying Trump is going to make an announcement today. It's 100% crypto. And it's like the guy is dealing with wars and inflation and like all that's tariffs and trade wars and whatever that is definitely not crypto related. But I think so what is happening now with the space, and I also, again, depending on what this goes out, but it's very important for everybody to see that it's not crypto is a scam, and crypto crypto is basically an amplified. You can see the reaction, what you see on the stock market, and you see it in the S&P, you see it in the Nasdaq. That's crypto is amplified because it's such a small space, and so whatever is happening in the States does not have direct relation to crypto. It's not like crypto is dumping. The world is on a very, very shaking. Of course, as the new administration comes in, especially if you look at someone like Trump comes in, he stirs the pots, and tariffs here, tariffs there, and then all that stuff happening, war here, there. So anyway, when that gets fixed, I do think that we're going to get an incredible rally, because the crypto group has not from the day one of the administration, they had 90 days to propose something to the president, and then they have 180 days to actually implement something. Now they have the executive order for the Bitcoin National Reserve, which is like strategic reserve, which is incredible, which is like insane. Like even to comprehend the fact, and again I'm just going back, comprehend the fact that like there was a random someone doing something on his computer, and I don't know, like a decade later, we have the largest nation on the planet accepting it as a strategic reserve. It's just insane. And people are, they're not going to buy it. Yes, of course, we're going to see how this goes. But immediately, I think the reserve and the fact that they are using Bitcoin as strategic reserve immediately puts Bitcoin on the pedestal and goes, okay, so if the United States uses that as a strategic reserve, we must start looking at this. And I think that is the next wave. I think that is the next catalyst where countries going to realize that they have to start catching up. And I do think that everything will rally back.
I think that's the way. Yesterday we had the event here where they said, how can we onboard the next billion people to crypto? I think that's the way how we're going to do it.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, other than the fact that, of course, I think, the world does revolve around us. Despite
I like that. I agree.
A bit smaller world.
And if it doesn't, it really should. But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. In order to get wider scale adoption and really, it accepted as a credible industry, it's very positive, this move by the US. And moving on again back to regulation, if you had a magic wand and you could pick an area that would be up for more increased regulations,
meme coins.
Pardon?
No, just
Meme
meme
coins.
coins. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we know your choice.
No, sorry. No, but
No, no,
that's
no.
the truth. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you got this whole. I think that is the biggest damage to the space, and it's not. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not hating on meme coins. They're great utility culture, but whatever. But what is happening is that whenever I see a celebrity just post, "Oh, what's going on Solana?" I go, "No,
Yeah,
please,
not again,
no,
not
just
again.
don't come.
Yeah.
Just just please no." And so I think that space must be regulated. Like, there must be consequences of people, like, whether it's influencers, whether it's like major Web2 KOLs or thought leaders or whatever you want to call them. That must be regulated, because I think that is what does the biggest damage. Now it's gonna be a challenge because Trump wants his own meme, so I don't know how that will go.
Exactly.
But I think that must be regulated. Yeah.
Got it. Well, that is certainly a good one that is up for regulation, meme coins. But what about DeFi? What about, tokenization? Is there any other area that you think really could benefit from increased regulation at this stage?
Yeah, if we see this regulation coming as a increased clarity, people and industries know how to build their businesses, how to run the businesses. So probably it really help for DeFi, for example. If we see second version of Mika, which is coming next, it should tackle issues like a DeFi, NFTs. So probably this industry will also see more clear rules how they kind build their businesses and invest. And for example, one of the key issues for DeFi probably is going to be for Mika to define.
Pun
which,
intended.
to define which DeFi projects are really DeFi projects, because we see so many platforms, blockchains that really are not decentralized and using only this as a marketing tool.
Got it. Yeah, and I think that's Mika 2 will be an interesting development. Sure. What about you? What's on your wish list for something that could do with regulation at this point to
I have
move
to
it
agree
forward?
with you here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I like my meme coins, so I like trading the meme coins, in all honesty. But I do agree that it's very harmful if a president, or I mean, at that time he wasn't a president yet.
It's smart.
Smart.
Let's give it to him. Very smart.
Yeah.
On the day
before
Gary's out.
Yeah.
And 2 days before it gets. It's smart.
So it's. I mean, if such a person is able to launch a coin, and then no one hears about it anymore, and then we all just move on with our lives, I think that's a very harmful thing to the crypto community and the space. And you've seen it, because so many people thought, you know what, there's this new coin, I'm gonna buy this one, but so many people lost money. And I think it's a sad thing, because those people started with crypto, they thought, you know what, I'm excited, let's do it. They buy the coin and they immediately lose all their money. And I think it's harder to get them back into crypto again, because they already lost their money once. And they're gonna think, twice about losing that same money again. So I think that's where we are going to win the most in a short amount of time, the meme coin space, where rappers or artists, they're launching a coin and in 2 days the coin is gone. I think we need to have some regulation there.
Yeah, well, one thing with meme coins, probably what we see in the recent months in this industry, that this market somehow has self-regulated after this Libra disaster, other disasters. So probably the market is down, and probably could be an example how the market can self-regulate a bit, at least. But with meme coins, as someone said, the main issue is that people like to gamble, and you can't stop them from doing this. So probably until everyone gets burned, so it won't work.
True.
But there is a massive difference between you knowing that you're going to gamble and you believing, a lot of these people, and exactly what you said, they think crypto is my singer launched a coin. That's crypto. Like, they don't know anything about Bitcoin. They don't know anything about DeFi. They don't know anything about blockchain. They just think there is this coin that I bought and this money,
and it's gonna make me a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. And I just put in my $200 and it's gone.
And it's better Bitcoin.
What I literally just bought it, but what do you mean it's gone? So that's. But I also wanted to reflect on the fact that I think what we all been waiting for is obviously the Bitcoin strategic reserve and clarity on that. But the next step for the US is going to be stablecoin regulation, and it's very clear. And the main reason is because this is the way Trump can strengthen the dollar. So his main whole thing is, everybody should use the dollar. And when you can have stable coins, stable dollars, or digital dollar, whether it's USDC, USDT, whatever that might be, that is obviously, and this is exactly, if you see any Trump speeches regarding crypto, he's very bullish on stable coins and that regulation. And I do think that after that happens and there is some clarity on there, that's then when the ripple effect starts, and then they start moving into deeper and deeper into the space. But it will take a lot of time.
Yeah, no, it's I couldn't agree more. And then pivoting slightly, where do you think traditional finance fits into all of this? How will they position themselves in the market? Will they, move out the other exchanges, or will they, will the exchanges like OKX, occupy the spaces that they used to provide? What's your thought on the role that traditional finance could play in this journey of regulation?
Yeah, so TradFi guys will come definitely to this sector more and more.
100%.
So they coming this as a new asset class. They don't care really about technology, so they like to just also gamble in TradFi terms. I mean, that's serious gambling. Yeah. So TradFi is gone in this use, as I said, as a new asset class to get new revenue streams, to enter new markets, to get new customers. So probably see more and more, and then probably thanks to Mika, we'll see more European banks entering this sector, because Mika now allows them to engage in this asset class as well.
I think you hear it more and more as well, right? Where institutions or fund managers or whatever, they all wanted to. Some of them wanted to have crypto in their portfolio, but it was very hard to do it in the last couple of years. And now more and more of these people are saying, you know what, we want to have a tiny bit of crypto in our portfolio. So now that it's possible with all the developments that we've had, I think crypto is here to stay, and Bitcoin is here to stay as well. So I feel like they will add on Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum and maybe Solana, but I'm not too sure about that, in their fund. Maybe just a tiny percentage, even if it's just 5%. But yeah, looking at the numbers, you see pretty much everyone doing the same thing right now. So yeah, I think definitely we're going to go that way.
I think what's going to be super exciting is RWAs and tokenization, like real world assets and tokenization of stocks, bonds, real, whether it's financial assets or just real assets, any asset. And I do think that's the next, if you listen to anything Larry Fink says and like the way they talk about RWAs and tokenization of everything, I think that's going to be the biggest bridge between TradFi and crypto. And when you will be able to trade any stock or any commodity or anything on chain in a regulated framework, then I think we're there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the concept of bridging the two industries is going to be super important in the next few years.
Yep.
It will all be kind of, we've got lessons to learn from TradFi, but I think they also need the technology and the knowledge from the crypto side of things to really move forward in that space.
I think it's good that we have exchanges like, for example, OKX, who are now setting a standard for these institutions as well. We saw it yesterday with the panel that we had here, where once the bigger exchanges set a standard, the rest will follow. So I think it's very good that they're busy with that and they are developing this standard, because eventually theirs will follow, and that will make sure that we're able to do these things on pretty much every exchange out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I think, in a regulated environment, the standards that are applied to TradFi will apply 100% to crypto as the legal compliance standards that we have to adhere to are the same, if not higher.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way to really progress the industry forward.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick your favorite regulated jurisdiction, put it that way, which regime or which country or jurisdiction do you think is really getting it right? Do you think the US's approach or the European approach, or perhaps somewhere like Dubai, the VARA, and their approach to regulation? Where do you think is really operating to the best of its abilities and really attracting more players in this space to their jurisdiction?
Looking at the location we're at right now, I'd say Malta.
Good answer. It was a trick question.
I think if you'd ask me right now, I think Dubai is still the crypto hub, the blockchain hub. They started with crypto whenever sort of it got bigger. They said, you know what, we're gonna approach everything crypto related. You can even buy cars, houses, whatever with USDT, with crypto. So I think they're ahead right now. So at the moment, I'd say Dubai, but it depends on how fast things are gonna go with the US. But yeah, right now I'd say Dubai and yeah, countries like Malta, they're very far ahead of the US, I think. But I'd say Dubai right now.
Also, for me, it's interesting because I wanted to say El Salvador, and and the reason is because it's again going back to this choke thing, right? How does Europe look at it? Like, you know, we have to regulate, we have to understand, have to regulate, and once we regulate it, and El Salvador just went like, we're gonna buy 1 million Bitcoin or whatever that is, but we're gonna buy 1 Bitcoin a day for I don't know how long, and they made it like their national currency as well. So I think when it comes to people, El Salvador is setting a beautiful precedent in my opinion, which is quite, you know, inspiring. And then I just really want to see, for me, again, I have a little bit of a feeling when it comes to Europe that they were pushing this aside for way too long, and then they had to do something very fast, and then this came out of it, and then now it's like this is kind of good and we kind of can get going with this, but I definitely think that it needs to be adopted and it needs to be changed and it needs to be understood by the other countries within Europe. And I do think that, or I hope rather, that a joint collaboration with the United States as they move in, and even if you look at the Middle East or whatever, just finding a common ground and have a global kind of regulation, that would be incredible. I don't know if it will happen, but that's as a visionary, I think that would be pretty cool.
But it feels like the US is doing this right now.
Yeah.
What you said, where the EU wanted to sort of postpone it, and they said we're not going to do it right now. The US has been doing that for the past 4 years, and now all of a sudden we're like, the new administration says we like crypto, so we're, you know, I'm just worried if it's going to be too rushed, like you said. But yeah, only time will tell, and eventually we'll see.
And speaking of El Salvador, so probably while it's still a good example, so probably it's on the other side of extreme, because it was a top-down regulation with forced. Merchants has to accept Bitcoin payments, etc. So now there is El Salvador pre-IMF and post-IMF.
Yes,
deal.
exactly.
So it also changes the landscape totally.
But they actually swapped it back now.
Oh,
so
they did?
Yeah. So there was a deal with the IMF, so they don't have to. So the difference is that like that was all the whole misinformation. But they took another. I'm not 100% certain, so don't quote me on this, and everybody fact check. But I think it was that they took another loan from the IMF, like a massive freaking loan, but the contingency with that was that they have to remove exactly what you say, the top down force approach. And they can't force merchants to accept Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still a legal standard you can use, but you're not obliged to. Whether, you know, if you're in Malta, for example, you can't go to a shop and say you like a shop has to accept euro. Like there is no other way around. And in El Salvador, they said you have to accept Bitcoin, and that was the problem. And so now that's revoked. So they're not obliged. But please fact check. I think this is how it is.
No, I think it's interesting, and I think you hit on something that really resonated with me there. That the key to a effective regulatory regime is one that constantly adapts and evolves, that isn't stagnant, and it takes on the feedback of industry players and participants and customers, and you know where there is a provision that isn't working, it amends it and it evolves, and new iterations of the framework come out, and there's a proper dialogue, continuous dialogue between the regulatory regime and the actual industry players. I think that's key. And I think El Salvador is a very interesting example, as similar to VARA, they have a digital asset focused regulator, the CNAD, you know, specifically dealing with digital assets. So I think that's very, very interesting when jurisdictions apply that approach.
I think it also comes back to who do you involve in the discussion? Who do you involve in the discussion, right? There was this White House crypto summit, or what was it called?
Yeah, the crypto,
which is cool, but like there was the FIFA trophy. I don't even know what happened there, and then the FIFA president was like, "We're gonna let." I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. So I think it's very important. And going back to the Rush thing, it's very important to like really create a committee with thought leaders who actually been in the space for a long time, who understand what they're doing, and then listen to them, because a lot of times what happens is that we do this crypto summit and it's beautiful, and then they just go on their way. I don't know if that's gonna happen now, but it's very, very important. I think it's super important that there is a committee that is really established from people who know what they're talking about, and then they help create this regulatory framework. Is essential.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think we're almost out of time, but maybe if you could just leave us all with one prediction for the next year. Linas?
Non-financial advice.
None of this is financial advice. Yeah,
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah, for next year as well.
Okay. Any predictions for the next year and how the industry is going?
For the 2025.
Pardon? Yeah, for 2025.
So
Bitcoin 150K, yes or no?
yeah, yes, easy. This year, easy. I think. So I said 250,000 by the end of next year. That's what I think.
By the end of next year, 2026.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think we're gonna get a massive rally. Liquidity injection is going to happen across the board. China already starting. I think the States has no other option. Inflation is coming down. CPI came out now, so I think it's just gonna be, there will be regulation on crypto, which will be really make. I'm not sure it will make the capital of the crypto capital of the world, but it definitely make the States tempting. And then of course with everything easing, I hope every war fixes and whatever, I think we're gonna get a massive boom before a massive crash. But my biggest prediction is ordinals, so NFTs and inscriptions on Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm like I've been sold. There is a guy called Toby and Brian. They're like builders in the space. They run a marketplace and whatever, and they completely orange pilled me. And if you understand the true meaning behind Bitcoin and the decentralization and the fact that you can literally put anything like a text, a photo, anything on chain and have it there forever until at least one person runs the Bitcoin network, it's beyond me. So I think ordinals, fine art on Bitcoin, definitely going to be something, maybe not this year, but it's definitely going to be something that is going to be valued very, 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 very much. What's your prediction? Ripple to 10,000.
No.
I meant more from a regulatory perspective, like
10,000.
Have you seen these headlines?
No.
Yo, bro, it's crazy. just YouTube it. People go like, Ripple's gonna hit 10,000 in the next 5 years.
It makes
like,
no sense.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. No,
what
I think
I'm hearing
Ethereum-
is regulation is good.
Yeah.
That should be
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think Ethereum is going to have a very good run eventually. Bitcoin will, I think this year as well. I'm not too sure about 2026. I think it's going to be a short run. But this year, yes. And then Ethereum hopefully will follow after. Ethereum to 10K. Let's
You
do
think
it.
so?
Yes,
But what's
eventually.
I don't want to do this here, but we can continue later. But I want to know what's the catalyst for an ETH run?
The catalyst is going to be, we have Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin going bonkers.
Yeah.
And then the next biggest altcoin is Ethereum.
But it happened, and then Solana ran.
Yeah, but Solana is scam city.
I think the only way to settle this is to come back this time next year and
let's
see
do
who
that.
won the
Let's do
argument.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all we have time for. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.